Welcome to the comeback. Today's guest is Evan Joseph. Evan is an interior and architectural photographer with a specialty in residential real estate. So a lot of our world crosses over. We had some differences, interesting about how the business is conducted, but Evan has literally been to the best, most prestigious, most beautiful apartments in New York City. He has a celebrity clientele. It's really interesting to see how Evan structures his business and the different areas he concentrates on. So we'll leave it to you to enjoy the today's episode. Hey everybody, thanks for joining us today. We have Evan Joseph. Evan is an architectural and interior photographer specializing in high-end residential real estate. So of course our worlds combine in that respect. And I think Evan's, we just had a quick chat, feeling a lot of the interesting pressure and the volume of what's going on. So Evan, a little quick background on you. Our audience, for the most part, are real estate professionals and real estate clients, both residential and commercial. But
Sure.
Give us a little bit about you and what you've been up to over the past few months.
Well, the past few months have been super busy. Since lockdown ended, it's been full steam ahead all across the industry. So my clients are busy and they're keeping me busy. And in fact, I was one of the first people in the industry back to work. So even when brokers that I work with were out, in their summer homes, in May, they were calling me saying, "Hey, listen, I don't want to go to the city, but could you go to Tribeca and shoot this townhouse for me?"
Sure.
So I'll leave the keys for you with the deli on the corner. And so I was doing a lot of these things, frantically, right there in the beginning. And it was frankly a little terrifying. Nobody knew what to expect. Nobody knew what nobody had been in the city for months. And we were all running short on information. So, I put on my PPE and my booties and my gloves and my mask and my goggles, and I picked up the keys and I went in and photographed these beautiful homes all by myself. It was really actually kind of fun and in a way liberating to just be completely alone in these beautiful properties, getting to do my thing.
Sure.
Terrific.
Has anything changed, recently? I mean, maybe the last month or so, because for us, things seem to be opening up a bit. I think not just in our industry, right, and in our world with the vaccination. Are you seeing things trend differently in the last few weeks, last month?
Last few weeks, last month have been busier than I think we've ever seen. So more properties coming on the market. Our clients are super busy. And I think there's this buildup to the traditional spring selling season that's even more pressured than it has been in the past. This is generally a very busy time for us as everybody gets ready to have their marketing materials in place for spring. But now it's a year's worth of pent up demand getting ready to have their properties together for spring. So it's all the normal plus everything that had been waiting in the wings.
Yeah, no, the same thing on our end. It's sometimes it can be overwhelming, and it's important just to kind of, give, reasonable expectations to our clients as to what they can expect and, are there requests and demands. Listen, we always want to surpass expectations, but, sometimes it's realistic, sometimes it's not. So I guess for performing, right, we always want to, meet the levels, are you booked out? Are you, kind of working with, a lot of the clients that you've been with before? How are you managing? Like for all of us as real estate professionals, I often wonder other law firms, how do they manage the day to day?
Sure.
Kind of staying calm and really just getting the deals and your work done.
Well, I have a fantastic team behind me. I'm so lucky. I work with some remarkable photographers, I think the best in the business, and they've been working on our team for years. And they're as ready as I am, to just pick up their camera and go. So as long as we have the infrastructure behind all of us that are out in the field, as long as I'm making sure that the retouching is ready to go and scalable,
Sure.
and that the admin is ready to go and scalable, then we can just be out shooting and shooting and shooting and shooting and shooting. So having, and that's part of what made the time in lockdown so productive, is that I was able to focus on scaling those back end systems, so that because I anticipated there would be pent up demand. Of course, I could have bet wrong, but it turns out I didn't. And we were ready for the increased administrative volume that comes with an increased productivity volume. So more shooting is more pictures, and more pictures is more retouching, and more retouching is more billing, and all of that adds up really fast. And more people is more insurance, and the insurance requirements have changed, and everybody's asking for more paperwork. So you guys aren't maybe quite as out in the field as I am, but everywhere that I go, and everywhere that our photographers go, we have to sign COVID forms, and they have to be done correctly, and they have to be submitted on time. And increasingly there are more requirements just to get access to buildings.
So the operations, for us, the operations have become exhausting, right? We recently hired an operations director. We hired an additional accounting person. So everybody kind of just sees, hey, let's get the contract signed, let's get the pictures out. But there's a whole team, a whole operation behind. There's a method to the mayhem. Is access okay now? Are you able to get in? Are there still impediments with certain buildings? I imagine some buildings are a little bit more restrictive than others.
I think access has been fine. People have been very accommodating and very welcoming. What I find, honestly, is that we are still, as photographers that travel from building to building in the city every day, all the time, we're very safety conscious, and we don't want to be vectors for anything, and we don't want to catch anything. So, and many of us are young, and we're not first in line for the vaccine. So, we want to, we want to make sure that we're keeping everybody safe. And in order to do that, we've been asking to have the leanest possible crew on any shoot. And ideally, that's myself and the person representing the property. And what I have found in this increased madness that you were just describing is that many of the people involved have gotten loose about that. In June, when I said, listen, it's got to be me and you, and that's it. It was me and them, and that was it. But now people are feeling a little free. And so I'll show up, and the architect is there, and the interior designer is there, and the interior designer's friend is there, and the broker, and maybe the seller's out on the porch doing a Zoom call. And, it falls on me a little bit to be the heavy and say, hey, everybody, both for the sake of the pictures, like I don't want you out on the porch doing a Zoom call in the picture, but also for everybody's safety, can we clear out of here for a little bit? So there's been a relaxing of safety protocols that I see that's come with this increased volume and this increased, craziness. So trying to keep a reasonable rein on that, while of course, it's very hard because I'm a personable guy. I love meeting people. And meeting people on shoots is a tremendous source of business development for me.
Of course. Yep.
I want to meet the architect. I want to hear from the interior designer. Like, I want to know from the owner what was the biggest challenge. Like, this helps me make better pictures. So it's hard and I've lived on that for years. So it's hard for me to say, all right, all you clowns, get out of here. Because I miss that interaction, and I miss that creative back and forth. And but that's a large part of where this has changed. And I'm hoping to see that will loosen up when everybody gets vaccinated, and we can all be in the same place together, and all of the team members on a project can feel comfortable that they're not going to make each other sick.
Yeah, no, it's the same thing. I view each deal, similarly, as obviously it's our job, right, to protect our clients, educate our clients, but it's also a marketing opportunity. Right. So same thing for you. So when you eliminate that, it's a little frustrating. And then, just as far as closings for us, it's only our client, right? It used to be 5, 6, 7 people in a room. Now, same idea. So, we're feeling the same thing. It's interesting. So I often, we work with, we do volume, right? We do a lot of real estate deals. We see, the good, the bad, the ugly, and different professionals. So real estate brokers, I know there's a lot of real estate brokers that tune in and, they're trying to, step up their game. They're, maybe they're new or, and, for, I always say the top brokers, I joke around, are insanely proactive, right? They're just, they refer us, but at the same time, I feel like they don't trust us, right? They're, meticulous about every detail. They let us do the legal thing. I'm sure they let you do obviously they're not clicking the pictures, but what do you see from the top brokers you work with? What's kind of a characteristics or a few characteristics that, maybe those brokers that are trying to get to that level can, think about from your end?
It's funny that you would have that experience, because I find almost the opposite. And we're very lucky and have been for a long time to work with the top brokers in the city, and it's really an honor that they trust us with their brand, which
Sure.
is really what it is. What I find is that the best brokers, the most confident brokers, they're the ones that open up the door and then
Right.
go in the lobby and make their phone calls and do their meetings. And they say, Evan, I trust you. You're the best. Just go do it.
Right.
It's the newer brokers that are very micromanaging.
Sure.
And that's okay. I like collaboration. Like I said, I mean, my business is a collaborative business. I'm not an artist working in a silo. I'm not creating, when I'm on a shoot, I'm not creating like works of art for the ages that are going to hang on the walls of a museum. I'm making art, but I'm making art, that is in order to serve a purpose. And no one knows what that purpose is better than my clients. And I may have a lot of experience in this, and I think I probably know as well what serves the client's needs, because I've been through it and I've made lots of decisions, and understood which ones were the best decisions, and then I can repeat those best decisions. But it is the more experienced brokers, and maybe it's because they're experienced in working with me,
Right.
that they know that that I'm going to do the right thing by them and by their seller, and create images that are really going to work. And the ones that are super nervous, and I understand why they're nervous. It's their first big deal. It's their first deal over $30 million. It's their first first deal with an investor group that has 10 more properties behind it. It's whatever. It maybe represents potentially a significant portion of their income for the year. There's a lot of pressure. I totally get it. But what I think the better brokers have learned, and maybe this is a secret to working with your photographer, is that when you don't micromanage, it encourages me to explore more ideas. So if I don't know whether or not you like the living room from the left or the right, and you don't tell me, I'm going to shoot both. And I might even shoot the left, the right, and the center. But if you come into it thinking, no, this is the angle, it's from the right, Evan, stand right here in the right and shoot this angle, that's probably all you're going to get. And maybe, if I feel like, wow, this shot from the center is really worth it, then I'll do that too. But if you direct and if you micromanage, then you get exactly what you've asked for, which is fine. That might be exactly what you need. But if you leave it up to me, you'll probably get exactly what you wanted, because I know all the obvious stuff, but I will find all the non-obvious things. I will find those serendipitous moments where the light's amazing and the composition lines up, and maybe nobody would have thought of that except the guy who's done this a zillion times. And we can create a much broader portfolio of imagery that maybe even I feel a little personal about, which makes the images even better. So leaving it up to me sometimes results in 3 times the number of pictures, and some of them no one will have ever thought about, including me, and they'll be the best ones.
So let the creative be creative.
Let the creative be creative. I mean, I like to do a walkthrough first. Like I like to see the place through your eyes, but when you lean over my shoulder, it can make me a little nuts, honestly.
Right. So tell us about some of the trophy properties, but also, for us as real estate attorneys, listen, we do deals, $1 million, $2 million all day. We also do super high-end deals.
Right.
A lot of deals actually right now are, average price deals. So are you tell us, I want to hear about that, some of the trophy properties, but also just the average, day-to-day deals, with is almost a joke in our city. The average purchase price could be 1.52 million. To tell somebody that in middle America, and
Right.
they think you're out of your mind. So give me a little bit of kind of the different entree or different menu that you provide.
Well, I have been, I have shot every kind of property in the city. I mean, I've been in studios that are estate sales, that with worn brown shag rug on the floor, and I've made the best out of that. I'm lucky that at this point in my career, I am mainly called for the remarkable properties, for the ones where, it's really special. And so sometimes I kind of pinch myself on the way home, and I think, I'm the only guy I could think of that's been in $200 million worth of real estate this afternoon. Like I was racing out of, from one place to the next, at the end of the day, it could be $250 million, that I have captured in some way or the other. So, not that that means anything. It's not but it is sometimes a reason to catch my breath, and think, wow, this is an amazing job. This is an amazing city. I work with some amazing clients that I am, literally at the top of the world.
And then do you have a team that can work on the average stuff, or is that kind of what you were concentrating on?
Well, we all share, really. I mean, I think that's what's remarkable about my team. Some of them are the go-to photographers for the biggest brokers in the world. So, I feel lucky that in some cases I've been able to step back from those clients that I spent, a decade working with and developing, and have introduced them, to members of my team that they like better than me. And
Sure.
you know what? That's great. I love it. Please work with Tim, work with Aton, work with Christina, work with Edward, work with Ken. These guys are incredible. They're just incredible, and they blow me away every day. I look at their pictures and I think, I wish I had shot that. How did they think of that? Where'd they come up with that?
Right.
And I understand why the biggest brokers in the world want to work, with these very talented photographers. They're amazing. So we do split the work, not always by price point. On any given day, any one of the people on my team, and none of them are junior members. That's what's amazing. Like, all of them I've known for years and years and years, and have shot, billions of dollars worth of real estate. But on any given day, one of them could be shooting a $50 million penthouse, and I could be shooting, a empty storefront on Madison Avenue. And between us, we've got the city covered. And largely that's a function of who's available when and what's important. We juggle so many variables. It's not just getting from point A to point B, but it's being in point B at the right time for sun, on a good weather day, when the snow is melted off the terrace. And, which one of us is going to be able to get, to Chelsea to catch that amazing morning light at 7 a.m. and which one of us is going to be able to get, to 432 Park to catch the sunset, from the 65th floor, and, how are we going to get somebody down to Soho, to capture that really tiny little moment in time in the evening when the reflection in the glass of a store, is not as intense as the light coming out of the store, and you get that kind of Edward Hopper lighting, and you can look in and get that warm feeling, that early nighttime feeling. So we're balancing all of these different variables among the whole team, and trying to cover like the whole market. So, like we do residential, we do commercial, we do resale, we do a ton of new development.
Sure.
And at the same time, we do a huge business with architects and designers. So, we're always, just this week, I photographed an exquisite penthouse that had been but not for sale. It was for the portfolio of an art advisor who had put, you know, many more times the value of this incredible penthouse into the art collection in this penthouse, like, you know, triple what the amazing penthouse was worth in art, and wanted to document, you know, the way that looked, and, you know, and the way that it had been installed. It was magnificent, and it was fun for me creatively to exercise those muscles where, okay, it's not about square footage, it's not about, you know, the way the light comes in the afternoon, it's about the decor, it's about the composition, it's about the way these things relate to each other in the space. And that's the kind of job, whether it's working for an art advisor or working for an architect or working for a commercial real estate broker that needs to, you know, to lease, you know, half of the 40th floor of an office tower in Midtown. These things change up my day enough, you know, from the routine, that I stay creatively engaged.
Right. You have to be nimble. You have to be versatile, which is, you know, key to success in our city.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, I never really thought of it as versatile. For me, it's like, ooh, a chance to do something different. But I guess at this point in my career, I've kind of done it all. So
Right.
it's just a chance to take a breath. You know, like you, I'm sure, like our bread and butter, our day to day is, you know, is real estate.
Sure.
So, and I've described it often to my team as like a game of Pac-Man. It's like little dots, you eat the little dots, keep eating the little dot. Ooh, big dot.
Right.
And that powers you up, and then you go get little more dots.
The beauty I find of New York City is the little dots, the singles lead to home runs, right? So our
Yep.
city is, you know, connected, right? The one person who has the single introduces you to the home run, right? So it's important just to, you know, keep the professionalism, keep, you know, everything tight, because it all kind of circles back to building the business. I don't know if this is a fair question, but give me maybe one or two of your prize photo shoots, or your maybe a good story
Wow.
behind the curtain.
You know, I love the super dramatic moments. I like the super dramatic architectural moments. I remember years ago, and I'm also a sucker for salesmanship. So and I work with some of the best in the world, right? Like these people are incredible. I got a phone call from Rafael De Niro, who I've been working
Sure.
with forever, and I love him. He's amazing. He said, "Evan, I need you to photograph the best penthouse in North America." I was like, "Wow, okay, that's a lot coming from you, Rafael. Like, I'm intrigued. The best penthouse in North America. All right, I'm in." And found myself in that clock tower penthouse in Dumbo, which is truly spectacular. Outdoor space, huge clock faces. You know, it's straight out of Batman. And you know, I think I'll remember that shoot both for the amazing images that have come out of it, you know, and I've used some of those images in my books and gallery exhibitions, and as well as for, like, you know, the salesmanship that got me kind of excited for it. Wow, the best townhouse in North America. Okay. And he was right. I think at the time there was nothing like it. So that's exciting. I remember, maybe I just like the penthouses, you know, I like the stuff at the top.
Sure, why not?
I remember when the Woolworth building was in the early phases of its most recent redevelopment plan. And it was fun because my entire team was on the shoot together. There were 6 or 7 of us, plus a video crew, and we needed to get a huge amount of material surrounding the Woolworth building before heavy demolition was to begin. And, you know, we wanted to get architectural detail, we wanted to get views, we wanted to get views of the building from City Hall, and views of the building from the rooftop of other buildings, and views of the building from the street, and views of the building from the terrace on the building looking back at the other tower. So we had this huge plan of angles, but we only had basically one night to get it all done. So that's why the whole team came into the Woolworth building, everybody armed to the teeth with their cameras and extra cameras and lenses, and we deployed to all these various locations, and everybody was shooting simultaneously. It was really cool. You know, and we had, you know, one of my photographers was climbing down an access ladder outside the window of one of the towers, you know, the kind of thing that I joked like his mother would not have been happy about. But we got these amazing shots, and we were able to put together this huge portfolio of incredible imagery in a very short amount of time, because, you know, we did the work of 7 photographers in one night, as a coordinated team, because, you know, we knew exactly what we were doing, and we knew exactly what everybody else was doing. So that was an amazing experience.
Very cool.
And you know, most recently, I was up on the tippy top roof of Central Park Tower. You know, that's the tallest residential building, I think, now in the Northern Hemisphere. So I mean, I'm a little jaded about incredible views of New York City.
Right.
Not only have I been at the top of so many buildings. I joke that like the top of the building waiting for sunset is my native habitat. You know, that's, if you look at my Instagram stories, I'm back in my native habitat on top of the building waiting for sunset.
Well, yes, and that's a lot of what brings the energy to our city, or you're directly involved. You know, that's a huge component of the excitement and what we're experiencing in the city, what we've experienced over history and going forward. So thank you for that. Thank you for joining us. This was great, a little, you know, insight into your world. We appreciate your time. It's good getting to know you.
Thank you. Nice getting to know you too. And it's fun to see the parallels between our businesses.
For sure. You can listen to The Comeback on Spotify or watch our interviews on YouTube.